speaking of Star Wars, is a Rey action figure. It's what Rey could have been.
Oh, man. Star Wars, return to the kitchen.
Indeed. Chat, tell your kids that this is what the Star Wars sequels were.
Well, you see, the thing is, I would like to fact check you on this with whether this is a legitimate Rey action figure, but they've all been thrown in a landfill because no one bought them.
Funnily enough, Motch and I were at a place recently with action figures, and we saw some Star Wars action figures. Specifically, all of them were like sequel ones. I don't know how much of them sold, but they were characters I have never heard of. Like minor side characters from the sequels. I can't imagine people are buying them. But they do exist. They do exist.
Have you ever heard of the excuse me. Have you ever heard of the company called Toys R Us?
Yes. In fact, we went past a disused Toys R Us recently, Motch and I.
When you say disused, you mean out of business?
Abandoned.
Yes.
Yep.
Do you know why they went out of business?
No,
Don't tell me it was Star Wars action figures.
It was so here's the thing. Kenner, the people who make Star Wars toys, basically had a stranglehold on Toys R Us. And so in case you don't know, large scale consumerism 101 here. The customer of larger corporations are not the people who actually consume the product. The customer is the stores that sell it. Okay. Which is why, like in my business, you have people who deal with customers and you have people who deal with consumers. Consumers are you, the average person who consume the product. That product being toys, media, food, what have you. Consumers. Then you have customers, which are the stores that provide the product to the consumers. Okay. So Toys R Us had a contract that they would be the first ones to have those toys, to have Star Wars toys on the shelves. And in order to do that, they had to buy millions of them. And no one bought them twice. No one bought them twice. It was millions upon millions of dollars of losses, and it caused Toys R Us to go out of business.
Wow.
Because no one bought Star Wars toys, they went out of business. That's not that's not a conspiracy theory. That's not speculation. No, that's literally what happened. They were selling, especially The Last Jedi. The Last Jedi is when it happened. They were selling Last Jedi toys for 50, 60, 70, 80, 90% off at some points. And this was a couple of months after the movie was released. And it was stuff like that made us realize how badly that movie was received. And I'm sure you guys remember how staunchly people pushed back against it. But yeah, toys like this, obviously not exactly like this, but toys from this era of Star Wars is literally what killed Toys R Us. So, and interestingly enough, in the 70s, it was Star Wars toys that made Toys R Us.
Yeah.
Like, it's ironic. Or is that a coincidence? Either way.
I didn't know that about Toys R Us. That's interesting. That would explain why that one had disappeared. I didn't know.